flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Welcome in to another glorious, reckless speculation Thursday here on Mackey and Judd. To all who celebrate, let me get my sounder here. There we go.
Speculation.
That means we bring in our friend for inside information about your favorite Minnesota sports teams, Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News sports team and the Scoop podcast. And boys, today is a great sort of landmark celebration date. It is the 1-year anniversary of Declan's first date. Declan has made it a full year in a relationship, everybody.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice. Shout out to Gersson. I was 15 minutes late for that dinner because we had to react to that news, and she somehow still stuck around for the date and for the whole year. So she deserves plenty of applause for that.
And, of course, the Celtics coach is being suspended and potentially fired for having a relationship with a coworker. So today's a great reminder. Don't sleep with your coworkers.
No, you
All
shouldn't.
right.
If you do, I'm not anti-sleeping with coworkers, although I guess I would be now as a happily married man, at least half the time happly married, maybe even less than that, or depending on the day. But like,
You want to talk about?
Keep going? You want to?
Right, like,
talk about?
Don't go to an MLS game and be spotted in a suite, making out with said coworker, right? Like, you can have a relationship with a coworker, just keep it under wraps.
Or disclose it to HR. One of the two.
Yeah, you could do a couple different things.
Options.
Yeah.
This is not going well right now.
Oh, boy.
I'm staying away from this whole thing completely.
Oh, boy.
It is the 1-year anniversary, though, right? The 1-year anniversary. It's not only Reckless Speculation Thursday, it's the 1-year anniversary of the Wolves firing Gersson Rosas. Think about all the changes since that date, September 22nd, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the organization is in a million different better places. I mean, to his credit, though, he pretty much built the roster that went to the playoffs, made some noise, right? That his vision came to fruition after he was let go. So maybe we do have to take a moment to appreciate Gersson Rosas in all his glory, all of his flaws.
Well, and that's why, Phil, the New York Knicks, happily, maybe not publicly so much, but happily behind the scenes, welcomed Gersson into their circle. He was heavily involved in trade talks with Utah for Donovan Mitchell. Like, when it comes to just basketball acumen, assembling a roster, there's enough there to like about Gersson Rosas. I had a problem with him championing these collaboration type, like I remember the Pat Beverly trade where he was like, this was a collaborative effort. No, that was a dictatorship, right? But that was okay. Like, Gersson had this vision. He didn't need to run it up and down the flagpole, right? He didn't need to bounce it off Sachin or some others in the front office. Like, he had this vision. I want Patrick Beverly on this roster. He went and executed that trade. But, like, just don't publicly talk about family atmosphere, kumbaya, collaboration, when it was all just a bunch of crap.
Oh, he's got multiple families. He's more of a family guy than anyone else is.
I feel like the Wolves basically looked and when they found out what Gersson was doing, that gave them the cause. Like, it sounds like there was a lot of other things going on, like as far as the friction. And it's probably, it's friction. Like, it's going to be a big move to fire him. I feel the relationship was the perfect thing to say, now we've got cause, you're gone. We don't really care that much about the relationship, though, but you being a jerk became the problem. And what's amazing, guys, is this. In this town, within about a year span, you had Paul Fenton and Gersson, two complete tyrants who were such tyrants, they had to be fired.
So you can sleep with your coworkers if you're a nice guy, is the lesson here.
Yes.
And, I mean, by all accounts, Udoka in Boston, like, there are no red flags there in terms of just being, a bleep head, right? Like, Gersson, you're right. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Judd, right? The relationship with the colleague, heck, as far as I know, at least as of a couple months ago, they're still together. Hey, great for them, right? Like, it's all about finding love. I feel horrible for Gersson's wife, his kids,
their spouses
depending on
probably
that
don't
family
agree.
dynamic. But like it's all about finding happiness, right? Finding a great partner, right? We can all relate in that regard, right? But like he treated a lot of people like doo-doo. And that had a lot to do. So Judd, you were spot on when you suggested that. Like if the only thing was that relationship, it's possible Gersson is still running the Wolves today. But there was
one
a
of them
lot
probably
more.
and one of them probably has to quit the team, but they're both not fired.
Accurate. Well, and as far as I know, I don't know if the woman was technically fired. You know, I mean, I think she realized, okay, I can't keep this position. Time for me to move on. But I don't know if she was necessarily fired. But yeah, Gersson, 1 year ago today, absolutely outright fired.
So now we fast forward, and the Wolves go out, and they double the salaries. I guess we're kind of immersed in a state of the Timberwolves 1 year later here discussion, but they go out, they double the salary of one of the highest regarded front office executives in Tim Connelly, and within about 6 minutes, he trades for Rudy Gobert, and they're reshaping this roster. And so from what you have just over the last however long it's been, like 4 months, 5 months, what have you heard about the inner workings of the Wolves under Tim Connelly, and even further up under Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez, in the influence that they have? What is, if the vibe a year ago was, oh my God, we have a tyrant that's just going around in a relationship and all this stuff, what is the vibe now inside Mayo Clinic Square?
Lots of positivity. A lot of people liked him. I've yet to hear a bad word about Tim. The ideal guy you'd like to sit down and have a beer with. He's about to welcome another child, right? You know, we hit on, or at least on TV a little bit, Kevin O'Connell, his wife is due here in a few weeks. Well, another Minnesota sports executive, you know, their significant other, wife is due here. Tim Connelly's wife is due in the near future. He's very much a family guy. Like, you talk to people in Denver, they sing his praises. And those praises have carried over here to Minnesota. I was going back and forth with Luka Garza's dad, who I've developed a little bit of a relationship with. He told me, like, Luka, and I get it, like Luka, an incredible long shot to make the Wolves opening night 15-man roster. But like Luka had opportunities to go play overseas for comfortable 7 figures. Like, I'm not talking $9 million, but more money than he'll make stateside. But like Tim Connelly, like more than anybody else, like Luka believes in Tim Connelly's vision. Believes in, okay, like Tim sold Luka, hey, this is a good spot for you. Here's why this is a good spot for you. Luka was all in. That's just one of many different examples I can cite. So yeah, it's good times. You know, the guys they brought into the front office, Del Demps, Matt Lloyd, you know, some others, right? Like, I've heard just a bunch of good things. Marquise Watts now being this VP that's making a lot of money, right, to enhance the player experience. Now, I still have question marks about Lowry, A-Rod, more so about A-Rod, you know, the finances there. But, like, somebody gave them the green light to give Tim Connelly all that money, right? So, you know, there's still an interesting dynamic there that needs to sort itself out to some extent. But outside of that, like, it's really, really good times. A-Rod in town right now. He met with some season ticket holders yesterday, met with some staff members, right? So it's a good time right now. Training camp begins on Tuesday, media day on Monday. So a lot of guys escaping town for the weekend, one final weekend to get away. But otherwise, almost every guy has been in town the last handful of days. They've done a bunch of team bonding activities. They went to go play softball over at the University of St. Thomas late last week. Luka's dad told me they had some stuff last night, the night before. They've been doing a bunch of stuff on the court. So they are ready to rock and roll come next Tuesday.
So, Dukes, off the, I think it was in the Post about 3 weeks ago, and story about the potential problems, especially involving A-Rod. Has there been more on that? Like, where do things stand as far as the sale, as far as his involvement? I'm just curious because that story had a lot of interesting information, and it was certainly a one-day story that sort of got dropped. And I'm just curious if it just got buried or if there is more there that we're going to see develop within the next, I don't know, 6 months or so.
Well, even 3 months, because the next big payment is due in December. So as it trends toward December, that's when maybe more stuff comes out. My understanding, Judd, is Mark Lowry's in a good spot. he can secure the financing. Like if it needs to be, instead of an equal split here with this December payment, like Mark can foot 75% of the bill if need be. And it's not like A-Rod doesn't have any money, right? So like A-Rod is going to contribute in some form, but it just may not be a 50-50 split. So my understanding from those close to Glenn has gone on the record with me now going back a few months, or at least 4, 5, 6 weeks. But Glenn has suggested to me there are no hiccups. This thing is full steam ahead. As far as I know, it just may look a little different, may not be an equal partnership in terms of the money invested, Mark and Alex, but it's still trending toward December of 2023, at least Mark Lowry becoming the majority owner.
I mean, would it really be a bad thing if instead of them being equal partners financially, if to me it seems like Mark Lowry is, in terms of experience building legitimate businesses and infrastructure and everything, that's Mark Lowry. I mean, Alex Rodriguez is only a businessman in the sense that he made a ton of money playing baseball and he has little investment portfolios and sort of like drops in on. He's not a roll your sleeves up, build a business from the ground up guy. Lowry is. So I'm the more this kind of swings toward Lowry, with A-Rod being like the sports guy advisor, and maybe at some point, maybe A-Rod is the guy that rebuilds the bridge with Kevin Garnett or something, right? Like I would have no problem if that gap existed between the two of them.
Well, I mean, I can see a scenario where that bridge is rebuilt once Glenn is no longer majority owner. Now, Glenn is going to be still a limited partner, so KG may still have some reservations as long as Glenn still has his fingerprints on the franchise, at least a little bit. But at some point, I do see that bridge being rebuilt. At some point now, it might be still 7, 8, 9 years from now, but at some point, I see Kevin Garnett's 21 jersey hanging, and it may not be in the rafters of Target Center at that point, right? It may be a different arena. But I do see that day happening at some point. Like
and Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington.
By 2035, Declan. I'll give myself a little leeway there. Let's go out about 13 years. Within the next 13 years. Write that down. Kevin Garnett's number 21 jersey. We'll hang in the rafters of some Minnesota-based arena. I don't even know what arena that will be. Yeah, I mean, Phil, to the casual fan, I don't think it'll be a big deal at all if in the end it's just Mark Lowry as the majority owner. Behind the scenes, there are certain rules, stipulations where, depending on how much money you've invested, how much you can be involved. But A-Rod can still be a public figurehead. He can still do these lunches. He can hobnob with season ticket holders, with, sponsors, doing stuff like that. Like A-Rod can still have a role. He just may not be able to attend, some of these owners' meetings, those types of things. But I'm telling you, to the casual fan, even to the hardcore fan, I don't think it'll really matter in the end.
Just for the record, write that down prediction by Doogie, which I do think we should make official. It is going to join the likes of, I'm going back in our database here. We have some open-ended predictions from 7 years ago from Judd and myself. So Judd in 2015 said Arizona State will join the Big Ten Hockey Conference, but he didn't put an end date on it. So it just exists until either it happens or until ASU doesn't have a hockey program.
Yeah, I like that one. All right.
And I have one from 2015, 16 that says Johnny Manziel will star in a reality show before he starts another game in the NFL, which only comes off the board if he starts a game in the NFL, stars in a reality show, or dies, because there's no end date on it. So at least we have a 13-year end date on this one, it sounds like.
Well, yeah, and I also made one, I don't know if it was 3-4 years ago, that Alex Kirilloff one day will win a batting title. So, I mean, really, that still has shelf life for another 10 years. Although, after this latest wrist surgery, I don't know if I'm going to end up winning that one.
If he wins it in a independent league, does it count? That's the question. Because, I could see his career just going off the cliff, and he just gets fat, but he can go hit. He mashes.
Why would he have to get fat?
Because he'll be old, he'll get fat, he'll be playing for the Milwaukee Milkmen, and he'll win a batting title in that league.
It's a good team.
I guess I didn't stipulate major league batting title. I just said Alex Kirilloff will win a batting title. So, he's only 20. He was drafted out of high school. So, how old is Alex at this point? 23? 24? 22
he's getting
even?
old.
Yeah, Declan, if you can go to the Google, I'm curious how old Alex Kirilloff is.
Yeah,
He's not
Declan.
that old.
Look that up, Declan.
Well, or I can
old Alex
multitask.
Kirilloff
I
is.
can do it. But like the point is, I still have at least another 11, 12, 13 years to try and win that one.
He'll be 25 in November.
Okay.
He's 24.
All right, so
He's got
you know,
time.
figure now the wrist may be a chronic issue, right? So that may F me in the end. But like I've got at least another 12, 13 years on that one too.
Hey, Pat Bev came out yesterday. So KG and Paul Pierce KG's doing some media for I think MGM. He's like MGM's main spokesperson. And there's a content play, and so him and Paul Pierce were talking about a bunch of different things, and they talked about the Timberwolves. And Paul Pierce said he thinks Rudy Gobert makes the Wolves a top 4 seed that can go deep in the playoffs, Western Conference. KG pushed back a little in the video clip, saying he worries they lost too many of their core grinder guys like Pat Bev and Jared Vanderbilt. And Pat Bev saw the clip on social media and tweeted, if y'all take Tony Allen off that Celtics squad from 15 years ago, y'all are a different team. That's all I'm saying. Toughness and dog mentality goes further when skill doesn't work hard. Is this another grizzled veteran complaining about Karl Anthony Towns?
Yes, if you want to read between the lines. I mean, I can't go all in and say that's exactly what Pat Bev was meaning. Heck, I should reach out to Pat Bev. He's Mr. Media now, right? He's Mr. Podcast with, is it Barstool now? I mean,
Barstool,
he's omnipresent, right? So it'd be nice to get some clarity on exactly what he meant there, but it's hard not to decipher, based on that tweet yesterday, Phil, that he's insinuating that Karl Anthony Towns is not a hard worker, right? And Jimmy Butler's gone in on that. Others, maybe not so publicly, have gone in on that. I guess my pushback to that is, what exactly does that mean? Like now, Cat at times puts too much on social media, right? Like he was somewhere tropical in the last 7 to 14 days, and hey, there's a picture with his personal trainer right there, right? As they're swimming in, some great body of water, right? So like he travels with his personal trainer, so he's presumably getting in work while on vacation. He looks to be in phenomenal shape. So like I don't even know what exactly that means.
I think what it means is this. I think the perception, and rightfully so, is that he is soft too often. And the Memphis series, there were games where that
is the perception, Judd, but is that reality?
You know what? I think it's reality when you have, 2 games, and then to go back to the playing game as well, where you disappear. I think it's very fair to say you are too talented and make way too much. I mean, it's sort of in a different way a little bit. The problem that a lot of us have with Kirk Cousins. Like you're paid too much and have too much talent to disappear when you are needed most. So I don't think it's really a hard work thing. Like, I don't think it's like, well, Cat doesn't care and he's getting soft. I think it's a mental thing that drives the Butlers and Beverlys up the wall, rightfully so, because they see a guy who has great talent. And then, I mean, literally in 2 games in the Grizzlies series, disappeared. Like, it was inexcusable. You can't, those games, that's not a bad night. That is a check mark, a red mark against your career when you are disappearing in games that important.
Well, and he didn't play well in that Rockets playoff series a few years ago. Right. So you have, the poor showing in that series. You have multiple games in the Memphis series, the playing game against the Clippers. Now, he was brilliant in at least one of those Memphis games, but sure, to your point, he wasn't brilliant enough. But I don't know if that's because he's not working hard enough or is soft. Like, it could be the opposite. I mean, maybe just not the smartest player, right? Like, some of these fouls that he takes, you're like, what the heck are you doing, Cat?
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know if that has anything to do with him necessarily being soft. But nonetheless, trust me, it's not just Jimmy Butler and potentially Pat Beverly who have this opinion. Like, that opinion is shared by enough people across the league.
Yeah. It is kind of amazing, though. Pat Bev just can't help but light every bridge on fire. But then he just, he lit the Russell Westbrook bridge on fire about 8 different times, and then he just shows up in L.A. and now
they're the best of friends.
What's up, man?
Yeah, I mean, they just had a mini camp out in San Diego. Apparently, those two have been bonding pretty good.
Yeah. Before we continue with this scoop session here with Doogie, let's shout out our friends over at Valley Park Medical Clinic. So, guys, ED doesn't have to be something embarrassing that you're hiding from. You can get this thing fixed, okay? And Valley Park Medical Clinic has been helping guys in the Twin Cities area with this problem. It's a medical approach, but it's non-invasive, and they will work with you in a discreet manner. ValleyParkMedicalClinic.com. Get this area of your life handled. ValleyParkMedicalClinic.com. Also, a shout out to our friends over at Spiral Light Candle, Judd. The Vikings victory candle was extinguished, but the Vikings coping candle is in play this week. It's great.
Exactly right. Yep. It's called Judd's Purple Positivity Candle for a reason, because it brings purple positivity, win or lose. That means if it's a win, that's awesome. The candle's burning and it's good luck. And if it's a loss, you know what it does? It soothes you. It makes you feel better about the game itself. It calms you down. You're not screaming and throwing stuff at the TV. So check it out, spirallightcandles.com. Spirallightcandles.com. A great gift, a wide variety of awesome smelling candles, but the Purple Positivity Candle, that's the candle to help you win or lose.
Doogie.
When I think purple positivity, I think Judd's all good.
Look at here. I got it right here, Dukes, and I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, you look at this. Would you not like this burning in your house? Just a nice aroma, spiral, and then it's got the. Oh man, it's just fantastic.
We'll
Candles
send you.
are underrated. I'll tell you that much.
Dude, we had a third sump pump septic situation, and this one wasn't. The one in February was like light the whole basement on fire for a month situation. This was more of the alarm got triggered, so they had to replace the pump before anything bad happened. But he had to have the lid open downstairs for like 4 hours.
Oh my god!
And so I'll tell you, I could have used a couple of those spiral light candles because it was pretty dank. So anyhow, Doogie, the Vikings have been pretty lucky and fortunate with just a lack of injury issues throughout the offseason. I mean, like their injury report going into week 1 and week 2 was very minimal. What does it look like now? Harrison Smith concussion protocol. What are they dealing with on the injury front?
Well, yeah, it's him. It's Andrew Booth Jr. Both guys, if they did practice on Wednesday, they did not hit the practice field. They will hit the practice field. The Vikings, that is, maybe not those two guys, this afternoon. So those are the two guys to keep an eye on. Now, the word late Monday on Smith was there was some positive traction that he'd be able to get out of the concussion protocol by midweek. So to me, a little bit alarming that as of Wednesday afternoon, he was still in the protocol. So we'll have to keep an eye on that situation. It sure would be nice if Booth Jr., who, when he was on the field at Clemson, showed why he was just about a first-round pick. I know he went early second round, but had first-round productivity, first-round traits, right? So it sure would be nice to get him going, but that still might be another week or so. So, yeah, those are the two guys to keep an eye on. Detroit's injury list, a little bit longer. Like, I'm curious if my guy Frank Ragnow from Chanhassen High School, if he'll be back. You know, the all-pro center, Aiden Hutchinson popped up on the injury report. Now, Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, said on Monday that's more a Charlie horse situation, but Hutchinson, who had 3 sacks last week, did not practice on Wednesday. DeAndre Swift, now Swift was on the injury report last week, played on Sunday, played well. So I imagine he plays on Sunday, but he's a little banged up as well. So it seems like Detroit a little bit more banged up than the Vikings.
Here's one that I would like to both sound a potential alarm on and recklessly speculate simultaneously. And it's not being brought up yet, but it is a story. So this is a good one to dig on. Lewis Cine was active and played special teams Monday night, okay? But what was interesting was, and I wasn't shocked that he is behind Bynum, so that didn't shock me. But here's the red alert on this one. When Harrison Smith got hurt, Josh Metellus stepped in for Harrison Smith. Lewis Cine was not the next man up. Now, anything from a 3rd round pick on, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's just learning. But a 1st round pick, highly touted, who can't get on the field when Harrison Smith goes out, is at least worth checking into. That's an interesting one to me. Unless he was still hobbled and hurt, but he was active, He couldn't get on the field as the next safety up, which is what, 4 deep at that point? 3 deep, 4 deep? Anyway, just want to sound the alarm a little bit and recklessly speculate that it's got my my attention.
Well, I don't even know if you need to recklessly speculate. Like, it's pretty telling that Metellus is ahead of Lewis Cine. Now, Cine told me in the locker room last week, I feel great. Like, he didn't put an exact number that I'm 98% or 100%, but like he declared last Wednesday he was good to go for Monday night, or last Thursday, I guess it would have been, right? 1 week ago. And he ended up playing. But yeah, when they needed to go with another safety, it was Metellus. Now, going back to training camp, to preseason, Judd, are you that surprised? It's not like Lewis Cine popped. Plus, he missed a few days. Like, he missed that night scrimmage, right? So, like, he wasn't out there every single day. But based on what we saw when we had all that access those first couple weeks of August, I'm not surprised that Metellus is ahead of Lewis Cine today.
I might not be completely surprised. I'm disappointed and disturbed.
Disturbed?
Well, I'm disturbed. I'm disturbed that a first-round pick is not able to get on the field that far down the depth chart, especially in a game where, like, that's a pretty good game to get him out there. Yeah, I'm a little bit disturbed. It's first-round pick.
Well, I mean, we'll continue to make those comparisons of Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore. Right now, I haven't seen how he's played. I did see what Miami did on Sunday. I'm actually trying to see if there's any reports on how Kyle Hamilton has been playing. There were some positive reports going back to preseason, right? But that will be the comparison that many of us make for many years, because the Vikings could have just stayed where they were there in the first round, drafted the consensus number one safety on the board that at different points was supposed to be a top 5 pick. He kept falling, right? And he was sitting there for the Vikings just to gobble up. The Vikings decided, nope, we don't want Kyle Hamilton. We'll move all the way back, see how the board shakes out, ultimately end up with Lewis Cine. But that will be the comparison, Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore to Lewis Cine here. So I'll be curious to follow how Kyle Hamilton plays. I don't know how he's played through the first 2 weeks.
All right, final minute here. We want to be respectful of your time here, Doogie. Any final scoops? What's left in the bag here?
Sure. So tomorrow, 4 o'clock, Nolan Winter, Trevor Winter's son, Lakeville North High School senior, will declare where he will play his college basketball. It is down to the Gophers and Wisconsin Badgers. Let me just remind everybody, Lakeville North has a pipeline to Madison. Tyler Wall, one of Wisconsin's best players right now, Lakeville North High School alum. Nate Reavers, who had a nice career in Madison, now making money overseas, Lakeville North High School alum. So it'll be fascinating if that trend continues, right? Where Nolan, with his dad's legacy, think about Trevor Winter playing on Clem Haskins' team, the Final Four. Heck, Trevor Winter had a brief cup of coffee, appeared in one NBA game for like 1 minute. You should go to basketballreference.com. Look at Trevor Winter's bio. He appeared in like one game for the Timberwolves, but Trevor Winter can say he played in the NBA. Trevor is a great guy, but it'll be fascinating to see if his son Nolan ultimately picks Wisconsin over the Gophers. Now, Ben Johnson lost a local recruit supposedly earlier this week with Tayson Chapman of Totino Grace picking Ohio State. I will tell you on this, the Gophers preferred Cam Christie. They did not lose Tayson Chapman. I'm happy for Tayson, good kid. I've been over to Totino Grace multiple times to get to know him. Ohio State is getting one heck of a player. Maybe the Gophers misevaluated on that, because at one point, going back to last winter, the Gophers were all over Tayson Chapman. But in the end, they preferred Cam Christie, who they got out of the state of Illinois. I do not count Tayson Chapman as a loss for the Gophers. In the case of Nolan Winter, the Gophers would happily take him. Now, is he their number one target this second? No. That's the big man from California, the 5-star Dennis Evans. But the Gophers would happily take Nolan Winter if he wants to commit to them tomorrow. But I'm just saying, based on the tradition there, Lakeville North to Madison, I'm just saying keep an eye on that possibility of Nolan Winter telling the hometown Gophers no, his dad's school no, and yes to the Wisconsin Badgers.
Lame. There he is, Darren Doogie Wolfson. Inside information about your favorite Minnesota sports teams. All right, great stuff, Dukes. We'll see you next week.
All right, sounds good, boys. Talk on
All right.
Tuesday. See ya. Bye-bye.
All right, we love having Doogie on the show. Just brings great fodder and information every single week.